Okay, I'm back after resolving the Union attack and the activation. This was their surprise attack. I think they did a decent amount of damage. There's several routed Confederate units, including the 12th Tennessee on this flank, which was 8 strength points, so that was a pretty big deal. The replacement leader for Stuart, who started on the map already, died again, so there's going to have to be another replacement drawn, which I don't think is going to... Oops, this guy got bumped. Which I don't believe is going to really change much about the... I guess it'd be like this. Situation, because he's going to come back on. But still, pretty interesting result there. Some Ruggles units routed. They were already badly damaged anyway in the center here. And these cannons got disordered and pushed back. Cobb's battery. Some of these other artillery units got disordered and pushed back. I believe one of them routed. Yeah, one of the Washington batteries was... Come on. Washington C batteries. It's not focusing great, but anyway, one of that batteries was routed. And then a lot of other units just damaged and pushed back. A couple collapsed regiments. They were already weak, but still. And then lots of disorder. Of course, now the Union line is disordered itself since I did all that. And actually, I believe... I'm going to double check off camera, but I believe they're now at Fatigue 1. McLaren's, or rather, these brigades are now at Fatigue 1. I'm going to double check, but I believe with second activation, which wouldn't do it, but I believe the continued shock count is 2 shock, I think. Either way, I'm going to double check that and find out. They might be fatigue, at least at fatigue level 1, which is not great for them, but I believe a lot of this... also, by the way, the Confederates resisted the kind of mass panic pretty well, so there's only a few other units that got disordered from the surprise. But I believe a lot of this is going to kind of come down to what is the next chip drawn. So let's see. Overall, the Union did really well in their combat tables for the most part, and the Confederates. I did err in the beginning of this scenario. I just drew the chit. I haven't looked yet. By putting all the Confederate units that had an option for what their orders were to attack, because then they weren't able to retreat before shock, which some of them were disordered, so that still could have ended badly, but at least they might be around. But, you know, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it was a disaster for the Confederates, but it definitely hurt. Granted, since I'm still pretty new to this game, so maybe it is a disaster and I just can't tell yet. All right, moment of truth. What was the chit? Oh, a battle event. You know what? Let's resolve this then. That's less important than the potential other one. So let's see. What do we? Okay, I'm gonna redo that. Blue will be the first number. 37. Okay. So 37 is CSA mistaken fire. Okay, so this might be bad. Are there any legal units? There might be over here. Let me double check. Let's see. Player designated by the battle events chart selects the firing unit that is, yes, the Union player is going to choose a Confederate unit. Selects within 3 hexes of a friendly unit but not adjacent. He then chooses another enemy infantry unit as the target. The chosen unit fire within the fire arc, treat, shot, and only except the SP losses are treated as automatic disorder. Okay. Ignore any additional D or D that goes with the SP losses. So before mistaken fire, in addition to disorder, unit requires the 1 to 2 retreat 1 to 2 hexes. The unit firing does not affect rolls for ammo depletion. No target unit can be chosen more than once a turn. Okay. Okay, and you never check for... Okay, got it. So actually, this time, I think there is. I think the... yeah, I think the 33rd Tennessee are going to get shot by the 4th Alabama. I think that's what's about to happen. Within 3, selecting a unit that's not adjacent to them. So yeah, I think that's what's going to happen here. right, so they're firing, doesn't just firing an enemy unit, 3 hexes, but not even, yeah. Yep, treat the shot normally except the SPLs. Okay, so it's 4, it's muskets, 2 hexes away, so that's a -1. Forest, so -2, excuse me, forest -2. But it is shooting in the rear. Is that something? Try to get hit by flanking fire. Am I remembering that correctly? Try to get hit by flanking fire. 10.81. I just want to make sure that's correct, that it's not like a second. It's not like the second one or something. Second firing rule, I mean. So many things. This is what happens when I don't do it for like a day. I start forgetting things. Small start directly from no. That doesn't. I think that's flank hex sides. No applies on the margins. Right. It said that's rear, not flank. So I guess it's not, because I think that's supposed to be a flank hex. I think the idea of why it's on the flank and not rear is if you imagine lines of men, they're like this, and you're taking fire from the rear, you're getting hit and that sucks. But from the flank, and you're getting fired into, you're actually potentially going through more targets and doing more damages. I'm going to assume that's the idea behind it. Obviously, I don't know for sure if that's true, but so I think I'm interpreting that rule correctly, and that it's not a +1 because it's a rear, not a flank shot. So, with that in mind, -1 for the muskets at range 2, -1 for the woods. I think that's it, because they're not disordered. Oops. Fix you guys. They're not disordered or anything like that, so I believe it's just going to be a -2. So with that in mind, it's 4. Let's do a roll. 9. Oh boy. So that makes it a 7 on the 4. Let's see. So that's a D +2. Wow. That was so close to being the worst possible thing, but instead it's a D +2, which is a second disorder, and a +2. So for this though, this had special rules, so it's obviously not taking a hit because that's would be an automatic disorder. Ignore any additional D or D that goes with the SPLs. Yeah, right. Treat a 1D plus. If disordered before mistaken fire, an additional disorder requires the unit to retreat 1. Oh, I see. 1 to 2 hexes. Okay. So it's not actually catastrophic, but they have to take a check at a +2. Oh, I didn't show that. Sorry. They rolled a 3, which would make it a 5 with the +2, and they're only a 4, so they're going to retreat 1 to 2 hexes. So I guess they'll go back here. Should I go 2 back into the? No, I think we'll stick with that. Okay, we'll try that. Now that that's resolved, let's do an actual draw on the chip. Back up. Oh, come on. Slippery. Oh, we got McLaren again. Okay, that's pretty big. So once again, I'm going to check for fatigue and apply all that, and then we're going to go from there to resolve the rest of this this McLaren action, which is probably just going to be some fire combat and then trying to rally and brace for the Confederates. So I'll come back when that's resolved. Hello everyone, I'm back. We're partway through turn 1 of scenario 6 of Into the Woods, the Battle of Shiloh, April 6th to 7th, 1862. So as I kind of stated a little bit before in the intro video for this scenario, the only McLaren's activation markers are in the cup right now until this surprise attack, which is about to happen, occurs. None of the Confederate brigade activations are in, or I guess division activations rather. And Sherman is not in the cup yet either. He doesn't come in until turn 1, at least as I read the scenario rules. Anywho, so this is 2 activations in. I'm about to initiate the Union surprise attack. The real, thing I was trying to figure out... Oh, sorry for the tongue click. The real thing I was trying to figure out here was the best way to actually organize Union forces for the attack. So, after the first move, under advance orders, I should say, on this turn, the Union gets a free order change for every brigade, even though there's only Marsh and Veatch. Yeah, I think that's right, only Marsh and Veatch. Yeah, it's not under McLaren. Although I guess technically he actually can't move up yet. He actually is supposed to be still back here because he's a division commander. He moves at the end of the turn, if I remember right. I think that's right. Or am I thinking of Corps? No, I'm thinking of Corps and Army commanders, I think. I'll double check that later, but it's not like, I mean, he would just go to somewhere up to the front later anyway. I don't think it really changes much necessarily, except, well, I will say he probably shouldn't be in the front line. That much is probably fair. That aside, maybe even back here. That's a little tough on the command range. No, we'll just put him there for now. Anyway, that aside, how to move them up to get to this surprise attack was a little bit of a tactical pickle, because I could do I kind of wanted to spread some of the thicker Union units out into extended lines to get maximum firepower before the shock hitting the Confederates. However, that would take 3 activations to move them properly in position for that, which means they're going to end up with a fatigue marker at the end of that round. At least 1, just because of 3 activations. They might end up with more, depending on if they do continued shock or not, and how much shock goes on. So I kind of decided I would rather keep them, no extended lines, keep them spread out so that they can still do a good amount of firepower, but more importantly, really strong shock, because of the extra bonus that the Union gets this round, to try to maximize the initial hit and minimize the amount of fatigue they're going to have. And I figure if they do it this way, we can also choose not to do continued shock, so I can keep their fatigue levels down as much as possible, because there's going to be a Confederate counterattack relatively soon, if not at this turn, because there's some of these guys are fresh, as you can see, especially the Kentucky and the 4th Alabama here under I always want to say Tribou. They're all pretty fresh. They're going to be able to hit hard, and so I want to be as little of a disadvantage as possible. They're also not affected by the surprise attack. Everyone else, I mean, I'll double check it when I do, just to make sure I get it right. I know for a fact that they're not affected by it. Everyone else, I think, is, which has some of its own benefits there, obviously, for the Union. But I'm trying to hit hard and fast, but leave enough power and as little fatigue as possible, so the Union, rather than, I don't think there's really going to be a true opportunity to just crumble all the Confederates unless we just get miracle rolls. So I want to hit hard, force them back, and then immediately come back to defensive positions and get ready for the counterattack. And we have a lot of rifles, which is nice. We can probably do some damage. I mean, if we get close up to the edge of the field, we might be able to get some good fire in there, but I just don't know if we have the activations. The second thing is, after this happens, the Confederate activations, only one for each guy, goes in for this after the surprise attack. So McLaren having 2 activations left rather than 1, I think, is also important for that, because that's 2 full activations. They can, potentially push more or pull back and get ready, rather than launching it on number 3 and only having 1 to try to respond to all of the Confederate moves. So I think that's the better way to do it, is this way. All right, so I'm going to stop here, and I will come back after the Union counterattack to see how they did. I should say the surprise attack. All right, seizing. All right, well, here's the situation after that McLaren 3rd activation here. So is a couple things. This Confederate regiment, the 13th Arkansas, took another hit after a failed second disorder, and that also collapsed them. So they're out there. Did the 12th Tennessee go out? Shoot, I'm sorry. I'm filming this like the next day, and I can't remember if the 12th Tennessee routed during that or during the second activation. Well, no, that must have been before, I think. Oh, well, anyway, you can see it on the video. I'm not going to go back and check right now. But that for sure happened. And then there was some ineffectual exchange of fire when this was still disordered over here. Nothing really went down elsewhere. And then the Union went for their resupply and rally rolls, and they did extremely well. The only roll that failed was the one with Veach on it, actually. The 15th Illinois are the only ones who stayed disordered. Everyone else was able to rally, and the 4th Illinois was able to resupply as well. So they're within movement range of a road or trail. But that's pretty much all that's going to happen now, or all that happened then. So we'll have to see who's going to be up next. Let's shoot. Oops. Oh, okay, we'll take that. What was it? Clark. All right, so Clark is up. That's who's going to be going now. And I'll probably come back after the rest of the activations. We'll see. Depends on how much action really happens, but I'll catch you in a second. So here is the end of turn 1 of scenario 6. So let me zoom in just a little. So there was some fire here. So I should say the Confederates basically got all their activation markers. McLaren's final activation marker was last. So the Confederates kind of moved up. First, Trabue moved the units that he's allowed to move. These guys are still not allowed to move. He moved them up. They managed to get some heavy fire, including flanking fire on the, was it 44th? No, I don't know. I think 11th Illinois, which disordered them and sapped a strength point. Anderson's brigade moved up, and the 20th Louisiana, they were ordered at the time, inflicted another strength point loss with a second disorder, and that triggered and forced them to retreat, and then they were collapsed by that point. So Marsh moved them back on his move. Then the Union, so Russell moved up. I forgot to move Pond. I just realized that. I forgot to move Pond's men on the Ruggles pole. I'm going to have them move up, and that's pretty much it. And then they'll just roll for that disorder. They're in attack mode as well. Something like this is approximately yeah, I can move up, why not? Is that that's not a ford, right? I believe they can, that's not a ford, so they should be able to have crossed that in attack mode, I think. Where's the terrain effects? Get a look. I don't think that's a Ford. No, it's a stream Ford. Which I think stream Fords are still fine in attack mode. Let me just double check that real fast. Otherwise, that's a screw up. Movement, attack. Refuse. Signed orders. I don't see a. They can't. Is it just that they can't? Maybe it was just that they can't shock across a ford or something like that. It's a little bit. I don't. Where is it? I know there was something about it. Movement modes, attack. May not use roads, trails, or pike movement costs. Right. May not use bridges. May not use bridges or fords. 9.44. Okay. Right. No more tremendous origin. You're not using fords. May attack across a stream river through a fort hex, but they can't. Okay, yeah, they can attack across. They can't. Okay, well, I'm gonna say that's my mistake for putting them in attack mode at the beginning. So I'm not gonna fix that. That's just how it was. Unfortunately for them, that regiment's gonna be out of. I guess they're probably just not gonna end up making it for the battle. Well, we can always change order. Yeah, let me just. Do I just want to give him a mulligan? I think, you know what? I'm going to give him a mulligan and just move him across one for the sake of the scenario so they can do something to kind of get into the fight. Maybe later. Pawn might be moved up a little bit too far as well, actually. I don't know if that'll be in command range with the slope there, just in case. And let me roll real quick to rally those guys. They failed. That was an 8. So they're not rallied. Okay. Forgot about that. Now that that's taken care of, now is actually the end. I mean, apart from moving leaders around, which I'm not particularly worried about. I'm going to do that off camera. I don't really need to do that yet. But other than that, that is the round. Where was I finishing? Oh, yeah. I was going to finish a couple things. This Tennessee unit that was up here, where are they? Oh, here they are. Oh no, it was Arkansas. 13th Arkansas were collapsed by Union fire. No effect on the 33rd Tennessee, but just not great luck there. Bad luck on rolling the rally here for Johnson. Some of these other units did not get great rally rolls. Very bad rally rolls on a lot of these. Anderson was or the 20th Louisiana was disordered by the last Union activation, so they didn't get a rally roll. But it's not great luck in a lot of those. But still, I think this is anyone's game here. There's 3. This was still under control of the Confederates. They're the last people in there. So this could still go any way. They're starting to move now. The Rebs are starting to move up on the flank here, and that's going to be a problem until Sherman, unless Sherman's brigades can get in on the action here. I guess, I say I'm done with the turn because it's like all the main action, but I still have to do the other cleanup stuff. I got to assign these regiments now to potentially prevent collapse, which I don't think anyone's in danger of on the Union side, but I'll have to double check that. But I think they're in decent enough shape. Veach managed to rally his guys, so I don't think he's in danger of it either, of becoming ineffective, brigade ineffective. Combat ineffective. I'll have to check that for the rebels too, because I think some of them might now be possibly. I'll have to put in the replacement for Stewart as well. They might possibly be combat ineffective. I'm not sure. I'm going to do all that off camera in between starting up for the second turn, getting that ready. But this is the general tactical situation. The rebels have kind of stopped McClellan's advance after that initial hit. And the McClellan's just digging in, getting ready for the counterattack, taking some losses. But more importantly, this flanking force here is going to potentially cause a lot of damage if Sherman doesn't get there in time to, blunt that. Even then, I don't know if he has enough. I mean, some of these guys are pretty thick, but I don't know for sure if he's going to have enough to resist. But potentially, I suppose he could get along the river here and get some good fire into these zones here, which, I mean, there's some slopes, but I don't think it's too much obstruction. But regardless, it's an interesting situation, so we'll see how it unfolds. And catch you on the next video.